Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have a great and wonderful day. This is very early in the morning. I actually did not do this, but I'm wide awake. Can't do anything. Videos will probably be coming in early for you guys, probably around 10, so get used to that. However, I'm going to be talking about a little bit something different now, which is pretty much my realities. And welcome to another episode of my realities. So, first off, what I want to pretty much talk about is women's voting rights and the consequences of women having these rights. However, there's a lot of other issues. So here's some of the reasons why I have some problems with the women's voting rights and what have you. And don't start getting on to me as like, well, you want women's rights abolished, etc., stuff like that. Let me start explaining. Okay, first off, the reason why I want women's voting rights to be certainly abolished is because we have a few things here. Now, we have just recently, where we had the U.S. or the House pretty much confirmed that men at the ages 18 to 26 are going to be put on pretty much a mandatory draft or selective service, and that is the reason why they're going to be going into this war that will be eventually would be World War III. And that's just the reality of it, right? And women voted us in here, voted us to this state, right? 70% of them end up voting for this type of stuff. And the thing is, they don't have any consequences for the amount of all the times that they have voted for this type of stuff, because they voted for the Democrats, right? And now they're getting war, and now we don't have to go to war, right? It's like now we have to go to war, and now they get to get off scot-free while all the men go to fight the war that they voted for. You know what? Every time I think there's a lot of things that we can do for voting rights, right? And for that matter is that, like, we obviously need to have a correct way of having to be able to have people vote the right way. So, like, maybe have a competency test or be able to have ability to where people can get in to vote. Make sure you know what you're talking about, stuff like that, before you start end up voting. Like, it should be more of a privilege to be able to vote, not just a right, And here's the problem that I have. Ever since throughout history, and let's past 70 or 80 so years, men have had the power to vote. That's just kind of the way it was, or what have you. And we pretty much decided where if we're going to go to war, we are choosing to go to war for this X reason, etc., etc. That's the way it's been. Now, ever since around 1965 or etc., women have had the ability to vote and do all this other stuff, have the great sexual revolution, right? And this is what's been going on. Now, we've had it since ever then. Before then, we had the ability to where women were able to vote, not go to war, not risk their lives for anything, but the men get to go fight the wars for them. That's kind of asinine, don't you think? Like, men are having to take a responsibility and the consequences of voting. Like, if you're going to go and vote, you have to have a risk. There has to be a consequence, because obviously our higher ups are the ones that choose who would we go to war with. Why do we start a war? Now, I'm saying if our country gets attacked, I think we should all be able to go and defend our country and stuff like that with any country, right? That makes sense. However, we have a lot of people in the higher ups that are pretty much choosing to go to war. I don't think anybody on my channel actively wants to go to war. I don't think anybody does. And this is not really an attack on the ladies, but I'm telling you, it's like, so many of you ladies, especially the younger ones, are saying like, oh, let's just go to, I want to not go to war, but I want to be able to have all the men to go to war, right?
But what about you?
No.
No? Okay.
No, women should not be drafted.
Should not be drafted?
No.
But they should be paid equally in sporting events?
No comment.
But and then 70 to 80% of you, 70% technically, are voting Democrat. Well, what happens here? Because now what we have is that we have all these men going to war for something that you women voted for. If your ass is not on the line, if you don't have consequences for voting, then what is the point? So that just means You can go and vote for something that is horribly dangerous or terrible for somebody, but that doesn't mean, that means you won't have the consequence of, having that action.
During a time where we thought that men should lead, men should be the breadwinner, the household earner, they should be the strong man, masculinity was valued, femininity was spit on during this time.
That's not
so
true.
Yes, there are trade-offs.
That is not true.
Yes, there are trade-offs.
Femininity was not spit on.
Yes, men valued wartime and they valued strength more than they valued motherhood, and that has always been true.
That's an absurd statement.
That has always been true.
Men do not value war.
Agree to disagree then.
Men do not value war.
When you give yourselves the baton, you have to wield it. You shit in your bed, and now you have to fucking lay in it.
That's insanity. And all I want is the equality to be able to have women be able, if they vote, they go to war too. Or let's do something like this. Let's make it to where, like, if you're allowed to vote, then that doesn't automatically put you in the service. That doesn't automatically make you be able to go to war. We could do something like that. So that means both men and women are able to go to war, or don't have to go to war if they vote. However, if we're going to have this stupid stigmata or the stupid thing, or where women are allowed to vote for the party that pretty much wants them to go to bloody war, and then not have to go to war after they vote for it, it's insane. Because men get to choose to go to vote, and we get to go ahead and choose who we want to go, who our higher ups want us to go to war, and that's just terrible. This is just insane. And it's like, this all comes down to me thinking, what is it for my friends? I have a lot of friends, and a lot of them are generally 3 or 4 years younger than me. Some of them are just barely making the cutoff to where they don't have to go to war, where there are others where they didn't make the cut, and they're going to be going to war, and they're going to have to go die, and I'm going to be feeling bloody miserable because they're the ones that have to go to war because of the actions of somebody that chose them to go to war, and they don't have to face the consequences. I can't stand that.
Women shouldn't be drafted. But y'all want to be equal? So wait a sec. How are you equal if the men are the ones that have to fight and die to defend the country?
I can't stand that some of my friends that have to go to war because of the actions of somebody else that they didn't have to bear the responsibility for. That to me is complete insanity. That doesn't make any bloody sense. Now, I'm not saying that ladies are all evil or terrible or what have you, or voting rights. What I'm saying here is, with great power comes with great responsibility. And voting technically has great power because you get to choose the great powers, the elite, the rich people that have more money than me and you combined, probably even thousands of us combined, and they get to choose how they dictate our lives. That's just reality. That's just where we live in. So if we have the amazing power to vote and we get to choose how we make these people dictate our lives, because they're the ones, that put in the policies, put in all this stuff to see how our life is dictated, how our life is governed, and all that. And they get to choose also how we go to war. And this isn't really beneficial. And today we are realizing it hasn't in the Senate that they're still deciding on whether or not women should be going to war or not. It hasn't really passed in the Senate quite yet. It passed the House and whatnot, but what have you. Oh, by the way, ladies, if you also want to know who's actually signing your ass to go to war, it's the Democratic Party that wants you to make you go to war. Now, it is not the conservatives or what have you, or the Republicans that want you to go to war. In fact, they're trying to make it to where you not go to war. And what I also find insane too is that there is a lot of women today in the modern age that are talking about like, oh, man versus bear, or if you're going to choose between a man or a bear, you'll be safer going with a bear. It's like there's so many of you that are demonizing men, hating men, putting making women all this type of stuff not liking them, not choosing them. It's like, at some point, when do you start learning to start respecting men as men have started respecting women for so many years or so many decades or centuries, right? Yes, there are garbage men out there. Don't get me wrong. I know a few of them. They should not be trusted whatsoever. But that doesn't mean all men are bad. The same thing as whereas not all women are bad as well. But the fact is, there's just so much of a heavy amount of you that are saying about this stuff. And then you refuse to want to go to war. That's insane. Because I understand that I don't want to go to war. I understand that women don't want to go to war either. But the fact that you can remove your ability to have to go to war is kind of insane. And of course, as you guys see the stuff that I post on here and what show is like, these are all facts, all this stuff that is being posted on here to show you, hey, this is the reality. This is what's going on. These are the people that are making you go to war. These are the people that are not making you go to war. Now, ladies, think of all the things that is going to happen. Let's put this in perspective, all right? Think of this. Your daughter that is 18, if it passes the House, or no, it passes the Senate. If it passes the Senate, then that means your 18-year-old daughter or any of your daughters that are 26 or what have you are going to be eligible to go to war. That's just reality. And if it passes, that's just what's going to happen. They will be going to war. And I don't know if you guys seen what's been going on against, Palestine or Israel or whatever, or the women that have been captured. Let me tell you the actual difference between men and women when it comes to combat or what have you. If a woman is captured, you're probably going to figure you're probably going to be tortured, but you're also going to be essayed. That's just the reality. Women will not be able to fight off against a biological male majority of the time. It's just not going to happen. If you think it's going to happen, and you have some type of lunacy ideology, because, of course, if you are a Democratic woman, they're going to think, nah, I can fight off a man. Not all men are strong. You're going to get a very, very, very rude awakening, and it's going to be a very dark awakening for you. Right? It's not going to be a pretty awakening. It'll be a darker awakening. Hopefully you survive the ordeal, right? But it's not going to be an ordeal or a reality that you're going to want at all. So that's what we're talking about here. The ability that women that will be able to vote these type of things and not realize the reality. And like I said, to everybody, even on my channel before, people that do things that has to come and meet reality, it always is a dark one. It is never a pretty reality. It is always a dark reality. It is always horrible. Like I said, Chicagoans, they allowed these illegal migrants to come into their city. Same thing with New York. They allowed these people to go into their city, the illegal migrants. Now, they're angry because all these people are here.
Making lots of noise at the corner of 38th and California. Brighton Park neighbors loudly voiced their frustrations over a proposed migrant tent base camp right across the street from where this band of residents is stewing with anger.
This is unfair to them. This is a slap in the face to immigrants who have worked hard their entire lives to get here, who have raised their children with a hard work ethic.
The colorful multilingual signs they hold share their sentiments without any ambiguity. A migrant tent camp is not welcome in Brighton Park.
They got a dose of reality. What we've been telling them was not going to be good. Now, they're yelling, they're screaming, they're angry. They're up calling off Brian Johnson and all these other people, or not Brian Johnson, but the Johnson guy from Chicago, the governor, mayor of Chicago. They're telling him off, not liking it at all. Because why? Reality smacked them in the face.
Open up these centers for mental health. That's right. We need to allocate some of this money for our black children.
Training in the schools.
For the black community. Yes. We have not done anything for our community.
Stop killing them.
Sick and tired of this.
I told you. I told you.
This mayor and city council have the guts to give migrants $51 million. I demand you to have the same passion and urgency to pass the City of Chicago reparations ordinance.
It smacked them so hard that they got angry and they're rejecting it. Well, guess what? Reality is about to smack you ladies so hard in the face that it's going to be a dark reality time. And there is not going to be no protest. There is not going to be no thing saying, stop this, stop that, stop saying women, or no, ladies. That's not what's going to happen here. Because reality does not dictate with your insane worldview. It won't ever work like that. If you think that, like, oh, well, for the LGBT community, which, by the way, you guys think you're going to be identified as female, you'll be eligible too. So you won't be able to escape it. So if you're a female that identifies as a man, you're screwed. And if you're a male that identifies as a woman, you will be screwed too. So either way, it doesn't work. Your reality will get a horrible reality. Horrible smack in the face. And I don't know what to tell you guys. It's all due to people not being able to understand reality or consequences and until reality smacks you into the face. And unfortunately, the American people have to suffer for it. For your ignorance, for your own stupidity, and even your kids have to suffer for it. Because you voted for war without consequences. I don't know what else to tell you guys. I'm just showing you guys how I see it. Why I think women's voter rights should probably be abolished unless you are able to vote and also go to war the same as men. You cannot have the actual same luxuries that you always have and not be able to go to war as well. That's insane. That's insane. And it's just the way our world is working right now. Men has always protected you women. We have always put you on a higher pedestal than we honestly should have. And go look at the dating market and go see how bad it is for not just men, but for you ladies as well. And see what's going on and what has been created and see what happens if this goes on. All right? I know these my reality videos are very long, but it's the only way I can rant and kind of get my point of view across to make somebody kind of understand, oh, we may have effed up here. We may have gone down the wrong road. Like, this is just something that you people need to start understanding here in this day and age, right? And hey, say it to it. And like I said, this also affects my family members too, my nieces, my people that I have to go war. It won't be my turn to go to war yet, but I'll have to see my nieces, my family members that are 10 years, if not more, younger than me, go to war, get killed, or probably SA'd because the actual ability of you women kind of going and doing this and voting like this. Again, that 70% there says a lot. The rest of you 30% women, you should be safe because you didn't vote for this. But the ones that did vote for war, hey, well, sucks. And don't worry, I'm pretty sure once they drought, so many of their men after so many of us get killed, my line, the 32-year-olds plus, will probably be up as well. That's my reality too. And I don't want to go to war. And last time I checked, I'm not going to fight for a country that obviously doesn't care about me at all. Cares more about crazy, sick ideology and people that put in dresses trying to pretend that they're something that they're not, and then put me in jail for protesting it. Yeah, I don't know about that one, fellas. I do not know about that one. So, all I'm saying is, and the big point of this video, is to pretty much say, ladies, you need to get accountability, and that's all I'm saying. You need to have actions to your consequences. And if you're just not going to allow that, too bad. I want it to pass the House or pass the Senate. So that way you guys will understand. Voting has consequences. And next time, when a whole bunch of you guys have to go on the front lines, die, see your families, daughters, sisters, mothers, grandmothers, etc., etc. Maybe not grandmothers, but you get the drift. Have to go die for a war that you voted for. It will only be then, that very dark reality, where you say, okay, enough is enough, we gotta be careful. But like I said, reality has to smack people in the face in order to change. And it always has to be that very bad, dark reality. Alright guys, that's this video. Like, subscribe, share. As always, take care, my friends.
I'm disgusted by what I see in public. Even people closest to us can't be trusted, 'cause it's algorithmic disease, the social media.